My name is Samantha Attard. I am a yoga instructor, wellness coach, nutrition PhD in Washington, D.C., and very excited to be joining you guys for this nutrition Q&A. This is a question that came up from our free Facebook group, so our Happy Healthy Humans free Facebook group. We had a great question come on through about potassium, so I'm going to be answering that question for her and for you guys here today. So feel free to share this if you think it could be of use to other people in your life. So this was the question that came up over our free Facebook group, Happy Healthy Humans. So the question is, Sam, would you share some general info with us about potassium? I've been looking at my levels for the last couple weeks and they seem low. My muscles have been sore last week after workouts and I'm wondering if potassium is why. Thank you. So this is a very, very great question. So first off, the first thing that I noticed from this question is that she mentioned her potassium levels are low. So she is noticing that her levels are lower, which is already that big red flag. So the most important thing when it comes to your blood levels or to thinking about supplements or your vitamins, your minerals, all of that, is to actually look at your levels. It's really easy for me to be sitting back here and say, ooh, vitamin D is important, vitamin C is important. We know that all of these vitamins and minerals are very important, but the best way that you can actually know if this is something you need to supplement with or work on is to actually get your levels tested. Super, super useful, super important, and then you really know if it's worth it for you to be supplementing or not supplementing. So as she mentioned, her levels have been lower. She's been looking at her levels and noticing that they're low. So then definitely potassium could totally be the cause. Now, what's potassium? Potassium is a really important electrolyte. It's a mineral in our body and it works in conjunction with sodium to basically make all of our body work. It helps us transmit our nerves, helps us transmit signals through our muscles. Potassium is used all throughout of our bodies and is incredibly important. So it's a really important electrolyte. Now, most people don't have issues with potassium deficiencies. We get potassium from a lot of foods in our diet, and so potassium deficiencies are not very common. However, as this person that asked the question mentioned, she has noticed she has low potassium levels, so definitely it is super important for her to be taking care of it. As far as I know, potassium does not inherently cause inflammation. If anything, it can help reduce inflammation because potassium acts to counteract some of the actions of sodium. So by increasing your potassium, it can help you lower some of your sodium levels, and sodium, because it can cause some higher blood pressure and some more pressure in your blood vessels and veins, it can actually lead to more inflammation. So I would say that potassium would act to counteract some of that inflammation. So some people that do have potassium deficiencies, it can be a sign of some serious illness, things like chronic kidney disease. So some reasons why you could have a potassium deficiency, if you are taking any sort of diuretics, if you do sweat a lot, which could be a reason why especially you feel that low potassium after workouts, if you do take any sort of laxatives, or if you have vomiting or diarrhea, if you're sick, anything where you're basically sweating out or losing a lot of water, fluids, or electrolytes, those would be the reasons why you would have deficiencies in potassium. If you do find that you have a potassium deficiency, you can try to really include many more potassium-rich foods in your diet. So this is going to include things like bananas, avocados, some of your orange vegetables like sweet potatoes and carrots, things that have a lot of beta carotene tend to also have a lot of potassium, and also fish. Fish is also a great source of potassium. So wine affects your levels, you think. Definitely wine, especially because an alcohol will act as a diuretic, and so as it acts as a diuretic, it will also act to decrease your levels of potassium and electrolytes in your body. So that totally makes sense. Does potassium help you lose water weight from negating water retention from sodium? Great question. I do not know specifically if potassium by itself will do that because we tend to have that potassium with a lot of water that will help to reduce some of that water weight, but I'm not sure if by just taking a potassium pill, if you will help lose some of that water weight? It's a great question, Pete, and something I definitely want to look into. So it's a great question. So in sum, most of us don't have to really be worrying about potassium deficiencies. It's not something that's very common. There is potassium in coconut water, Veg Mama. It's not something that's very common, but if you have gotten your levels tested, if you're experiencing things like these muscle spasms, leg cramps, and not feeling good after your workouts, definitely electrolytes could be the reason. So start eating some of your very wonderful water and potassium rich foods like bananas, avocados, your orange vegetables, and your fish. If that's still not working, you might want to be taking those electrolyte supplements. So there's things like Power Pack, Endurolites. Noon also does some hydration packs, and these can help boost up your levels, particularly before a workout. And potentially you will have to go to an actual supplement level. As Jane mentioned, it helped her leg cramps later in the day and for her evenings. So definitely there does take some experimentation, but if you have found that your levels are low, definitely get that potassium up there. Super good for you. If you think your levels might be low, just go to a doctor. They test it. It's super easy to do. So I'm so glad, and thank you guys so much for joining me for this nutrition Q&A. If you have a question like this that you'd like to see answered live in this beautiful format, then definitely come on over to our free Facebook group. It's called Happy Healthy Humans. Ask your question there and we'll get it answered here. Definitely, if you want more day-to-day action and insights into yoga, mindfulness, nutrition, then please hit me up over on Snapchat. It's Happy Healthy Sam. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter at Happy Healthy Sam. And then if you do want to get your questions answered here live on Periscope, join our free Facebook group, Happy Healthy Humans. You can just search it and you'll find it. Join on up and ask your questions there, and we'll do more nutrition Q&As. Last note, Pomodoro, yes, it does mean tomato. It is a technique for helping you to focus in your work. You can find a lot about it online, but you take 25 minutes of distraction-free work and then a 5-minute break, and you repeat that 3 or 4 times. It's an amazing way to find more focus in your work, in your days, and you'll be amazed at how much you can get done in just 25 minutes. So I hope you can give that a try. Definitely take a look on the internet. There's tons written about it. I find that it's super helpful, wonderful. It's great because in those 5-minute breaks you can get yourself some water, you can do some push-ups, you could do a little meditation. There's a lot of great ways that you can work in a lot of other healthy practices in your day around your work. So I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great one.